Okay, so thank you for inviting me for this meeting. So I feel a little bit overwhelmed because I mean what I do is kind of very simple. I basically, as René said, I built a company of people reading for other people. So this is kind of very simple. So all the things that I'm going to present today, I think that there are many things that you maybe know already, and some kind of job that you could have done yourself. But the thing is that we have the time to do it, and maybe you don't have it because you run all the time. So, okay. So what I'm going to try to present is just some kind of a summary of what we do 3 times a year for 4 hours every time. So it's like 12 hours concentrated in 1 hour and a half, more or less. But I try to do it in a conversational way, so whatever you want to say, just please stop and tell and ask, or because I think that I can learn more from you than you from me, but I try to put things together. So what I put is like 12 trends to summarize the whole, all the things that we have read during this year, more or less 1 year, from June 2016 to today, from the field of communications, but in a broad sense, communications, technology, entertainment, media in general. And I just begin because I think it's the easiest way to explain what I do. So this is not very well ordered. It's kind of everything put together, but I think it's a nice mix. One of the things that we've been listening and reading a lot during this year is the fake news-ism. So what does it mean? I mean, all of you know what the fake news are, but the thing is that it has transformed, I think, a little bit the way consumers think of advertising and of media. Something that existed before, but I mean, it's kind of, you may know this man. This is Paul Horner. This is the, so to speak, the guru of fake news. I mean, nobody knew this man before. Or some people knew him because he's kind of famous, but you have to be very, very interested in this kind of thing. But the thing is that the day after the elections, he said this. He said, well, listen, you know, Trump won the elections because of me. But you love Trump? No, I don't. I just hate Trump. But I think that today, this is a wonderful time for people like me that makes money with lies. He doesn't say lies. He says satire. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's satire. He makes 50 million a year just with advertising, because he got fake news websites all around, and then he got advertising clicks, and he got money. So, and people follow where he is, and they close down the website, but he opened up another one. So, it goes up and down. So, what people think about, I don't know what you think about it, but this is crazy. But increasingly, consumers also think that, we cannot trust anyone. Because we thought that the internet was bringing us a world of truth, because we could go directly to the sources of the news and knew the things for ourselves, but this is just contrary to what we thought it was going to happen. And then this is some data from BuzzFeed, because it's terrible. The 20 higher fake news, what is it saying here? We'll share many more times that the real news. Because, fake news are much more easy for getting attention, because you can say whatever the craziest thing you could think of, and just because of curiosity, you just click. I don't know, imagine if we say, there's an earthquake in Malaga, in Marbella. It doesn't matter if it's truth or not, but just in case, you just click on that. So this is terrible. And it happen things like this. Well, this presentation, you will have the presentation later, and most of the screens has a link. So this screen goes to an article, an interview to a young man from Veles. Veles is a small town in Macedonia, 50,000 inhabitants, very small. The monthly salary average is 350 euros. And then it goes to Boris. Boris is a 17-year-old high schooler that he discovered he doesn't speak English. He read a little bit of English. But he discovered that copying news from fake news sites to his website doubled the traffic. And they made money with that. So he began doing that. And he told that to their friends at the high school, and then all of them stopped going to class. I mean, and then and people in the States were saying, what is happening in Macedonia? But because this is this crazy world. And they said, well, listen, it was wonderful. We made $15,000 from August to November. Remember, the average salary is $350. So these people are putting fake news on the internet because of, they don't even know what they are doing, but this is the crazy world where we are living. And journals are making money because of this, because, I mean, we are going backwards, because at the same time that we were saying, well, journalism is dead because we can go to the news on our own. So citizen media, spontaneous media, all these kind of things. But we discovered that we need the media. So Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all the big newspapers are saying, if you want the truth, come to us, because we are professional news writers. And it's true. And we discover, and consumers discover, and we as consumers, that it's true that media have bias and all these kind of things, but they are professional. So they are doing aggressive promotions in this fake news era just to get subscribers. They claim, the New York Times claims that they made more than 100,000 new subscribers in these latest months. So they are doing, you see, this kind of, they are doing ads, video on the internet, so they are launching, they are on a campaign, because they see this as an opportunity, because we are very confused as media, consumers, as consumers. At the end of this year, of last year, 1916, Oxford Dictionary says, well, what is the word of the year? It's post-truth. Not many people heard of post-truth before Oxford Dictionary said that it was the word of the year. But it makes sense. If you click on this slide, you will go to a video where they explain what it means. But what they say is, listen, we cannot trust anyone. We don't know what the truth is. There are so many things going on. We were used not to trust the politicians, but we cannot trust the media. We cannot trust Facebook. We cannot even trust Volkswagen. So, because I mean, the Germans they were trustable, but they are not. So even the most, and maybe you have seen this documentary by Adam Curtis. He's speaking about hypernormalization. He was, I mean, it came out on last October, and what he says is, because of this confusion, we want oversimplicity. That's what he claims as the reason of the populisms in politics. Because we need simple solutions, simple answers, no matter if they are not deep. We don't care about deep. I mean, we think it's impossible. We're in the post-truth era. And people don't trust brands at the same time. They overreact to overselling because they think it's fake. They need proximity, closeness, truth, openness, normal people, simple messages, all these kind of things. They are disengaged because they feel afraid that they are going to tell a lie once again. So, and it changes the way brands approach to consumers. I don't know, there are many things, there are many articles speaking about it, but the thing is that the content marketing exists before, but now it's, I mean, we need it because we need explain things in plain language. So, trust marketing is something that exists before, but now it's kind of growing up because of this. And same happens with the relations between media and advertisers and advertising agencies. You remember this news? This is YouTube says, well, listen, what's going on here? Because Abbas and many of its clients said, well, listen, we don't want to have ads on websites that we don't like it. Especially sites that are doing apology of terrorism, because they discover that they will put ads on that places. And they said, no way, we don't want to do that. Google says that they lost 700 million in those days. It was less than 2 weeks, especially in the UK, because all these brands, they said, well, we need to be assured that the environment is safe. It's safe in terms of, I mean, I want to, it was a classic request from advertising agencies to the media and from consumers to the media, saying, well, I want this ad in this specific page, in this specific magazine, next to this content, but we lost track with the internet. And now we are recovering that. So in many cases, these things, in advertising and media, you know more than me, but things go back and forth. So it's like cycles, because we were going back to something that was very normal, very usual, saying, well, I want this ad on this place. But you see, this is the post-truth, it's linked a little bit to the post-truth effect. Same as, I don't know if we are here while the Cannes Lions Festival is taking place right now in France. So you may have read, but these days, the new boss of Publicis, he said, well, next year we're not coming to Cannes. We are not going to any award show. What are you saying? No, because it's overselling. We are spending he says that they are spending, well, depending on who you read, they say different numbers. This is a fake news era. It goes from 2 million to 20 million, the amount of money they spend on award shows annually. But it's a lot of money. Even if you take the little amount, it's $2 million. It's a lot of money. If you go to the higher one, it's 20 million. It's a lot of money. So they say, well, this is overselling. So, because this is Arthur Sadoun saying, no promotional events. I'm serious, no promotional events. There's a revolution inside Publicis, because all of them say, well, listen, we need to go, because this is a promotion for our company. No, it doesn't pay to go there, because we need to work and to do the right work and to keep relations, but this is bullshit, so. Along with this, we've been listening about influencers for many years, at least 10, 12, 15 years. I personally thought that it was something that was going to be only for a fashion, so to speak, something that was temporary. But we see in this post-truth society, influencers are seen as an accelerator of trust, and are growing. But the landscape is very confusing. So, because nobody knows how to handle this, not even the advertising agencies, not even the advertisers. So, more than solutions, we have challenges, or I don't know. It's difficult because we see that the influencer market keeps growing. Instagram has been a revolution in the last 2 years. People are going to this as real media. The media consumption, especially in some audiences, the younger audiences, goes to this kind of media that are not the regular media. Mostly for entertainment, but also for the news. These are the predictions that you never know if they are true or not, but I mean, there are so many people saying the same that you begin thinking that this is true. And all the advertisers say, well, yeah, I'm interested in this. I'm spending on influencer marketing. I think that it works. I know how much. I don't know how, but I think that it works. This a survey that is an intentional survey. So but this is the key. So they say, well, we see that consumers like talking to real people, and we need to recover the relation that we've been always trying to have with our consumers. This kind of thing. So we want they want to speak with someone they trust. But these are the challenges, because the thing is that we don't know how to manage an influencer marketing. We kind of know how to manage that. We don't know how to measure the return on the investment. We don't even know what an influencer is. Because we were confused between what is a celebrity, what is an influencer. Because influencers become celebrities, and then it doesn't work anymore. Or it works, because not all of them are the same. Is a fan an influencer? How you foster that fans speak about you? A client. So it is content dictation. For example, people say, well, content dictation kills influencer marketing. But how can I do? Because I need to control a little bit what the influencers say about my brand. But if I cannot dictate what they have to say, it doesn't pay. Well, maybe it pays, but so we need to keep them. But we don't know how to do it. And at the same time, we don't know how much to pay for them. Some of them are extremely expensive. I don't know. We don't know what platforms to use. A few of them are being, because we got many a few years ago, but now we don't have that many. But YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. But this is an accelerator of trust. Influencers are seen as a way to recover trust, and we are experiencing with this. So, I don't know. I like this article. I put this. If you click on the screen, you go to this article. This article is very good, because what she says is that we are just learning. It's not a destination, it's a beginning. So, and probably the influencer marketing is here to stay, but we need to know how to handle this. I mean, no, you only have to go, you may have done already, but to the different kind of influencer marketing agencies are completely different. Some of them offer access to influencers. Some of them offer how to help you to become an influencer. Some of them, different kinds of things. So this is like, and what she is doing is, well, and we think of influencer marketing as we thought of TV advertising. More something that I do for a specific moment, for a campaign. And influencer marketing is more long-term approach. So it's how I put people that accompany my audience, my consumers, during all their relation with me. People to whom they trust, people that they know what they are talking about, they are close to them, they are like them. It's difficult to find cases about it, but I don't know, there are many. I put this but this is business to business, so it's because sometimes influencer marketing works easier when you are speaking business to business. But SAP, what it's doing is, you can access this case, yes, on this screen. But what they are doing is just keeping a full team of influencers that they privilege with news about their company, and then they pay them a little bit, but they speak freely. They kind of can preserve their authority and their identity. So it's kind of okay. Legally is a problem as well. So you have heard many cases this year of the governments are taking place on this because it's kind of misleading advertising or this cover advertising. I don't find the word, but and in some countries they require when it's paid to put a hashtag or something saying this is an ad. In some others they don't, because this is in permanent evolution. But we're in the middle of something, and some agencies are doing some experiments because they feel that they are getting out of the place. This is 72nd and Sunny. They did this experiment that is, they call it Sandy. What is Sandy or Sandy? I don't know how to pronounce that, but what they claim is, well, we think that creative intermediation is one of our biggest threats. Because the really creative people are the influencers. Younger, with more connections with the audiences. They know how to talk to people on the social media scene, and they are very creative. And the advertisers go to them, not to us. So maybe we got to do something. I mean, this was what they announced, that this is the reality. So if you go in there, this is an influencer network, a social influencer network. What they offer the influencers, contact with brands and professionalization. So becoming more professional in the way you speak and you say what you want. And what they are looking from the influencers are looking for creativity and audiences. I mean, I registered on this platform just to see what happened, and then they didn't call me. So, but it's funny because they ask you what platforms are you present on, and then how many followers you have, what brands you like. What you write about or what you publish about, so it's kind of interesting. So, but this is an experiment. So if you ask them, what do you want to do with this? They tell you, we don't know. We are just finding answers. We are in the middle of this, but what we have clear is this John Boyler, the CEO of, we are clear that we got to do something because this is here to stay, and we don't know how to manage. Nobody knows. We get to be on the learning mode because even if we think we know, there are so many challenges and so many things that are changing that it's difficult to say. Okay, and many more players are getting into this. Amazon is building their own. This is another player that we're afraid of because Amazon is all around. And then, but it's kind of, I mean, it makes sense. Because Amazon has been doing influencer marketing from the beginning. I mean, first time you go to Amazon, they say, well, listen, the clients that bought the same item bought these other items. You want a review on that book, on that movie, on whatever? The reviews are ranked. So, I mean, they are very, very good on that. So they say, I can put all my people, all the best reviewers on my platform to the service of the brands who want to pay for that. Because maybe the best way to sell it right now is getting into the Amazon algorithm because it means, I mean, you are in many people's minds, in many people's basket. But the media are getting into this as well. So this is Time Inc. saying, well, we are building our own influence. Everybody's doing this. From the side of media, from the side of advertising agencies, from the side of production companies as well. So I don't have the solution because I don't here to bring solutions. You are the ones for the solutions. But I think that this is something that we need to look at because something is happening here. Though I think that it will coexist with traditional advertising, I don't think that this is going to take out traditional advertising. I mean, at the beginning, we thought that the new media, digital media, were going to throw away all the things that we've been doing for years. But it's not. The reality is not like that. So we know now that we need to find different mixes of media disciplines. Well, and there are many cases. I put here a case that many of you may already know. I mean, they're all around the world. But it's amazing, the number of people, and they didn't do advertising. Everything is influencer marketing. This is because of this, the product is very specific for these kind of things. But if you go to the people getting into the place, they all claim that they get into that service of losing weight because of the testimonies of the people on their Instagram page. You could think, oh, listen, but they do it artificially. a little bit. But they got, in the last 2 years, 2,300,000 pictures on their Instagram webpage. It's impossible to do it alone. There is no advertising agency or marketing department able to do that without the help of the influencers. Their own clients are becoming the influencers. So they are doing very well. So this is their Instagram page through the internet, so it's not the real thing. She's the founder. But she's saying, we've never done any traditional advertising. I mean, she may say, we don't do advertising. I don't believe on advertising, but she is an advertising campaign from, minute zero. She's doing advertising all the time, but in a different way. Because what we see all those years is many people doing advertising, but without calling what they do advertising, but they do different kinds of things. That's what we are seeing today. So she's got 3, 4, 5 books. I don't know how many. She's publishing books all the time, content. And she spreads that through the internet. You see, 2.4 million pictures with the hashtag Hold30. There's no team able to do that. So it's people, very relatable people, contents to share, people saying what they do, what they have got. Well, I keep going, so it's kind of, so something that is happening is platform consolidation. So remember 6, 5, 7 years ago, when you go, anyone speaking about the internet or the social media, he said, well, listen, these are the social media. Like, are you serious? That many? And now, we just put this. Or maybe this. Or maybe a mix between but there are 5, 6, 7, 10. There are many more, but the audiences are concentrated. And then, or the big platforms want to do everything. You see, we are going backwards again. We are going to the 4 or 5 media, just dominating the whole scenario, the whole scene. We even begin speaking about the duopoly. The duopoly, because there are 2, this is very recent news. Because in terms of media, of consumption, in terms of advertising investment, Google and Facebook got almost everything. And they keep growing, because they are not getting smaller. They are getting bigger. And they buy all the competition. They are, they've been buying for the last 10 years, and they keep buying. They keep buying things all the time. They got so much money. So, and they want to be everything. It's funny because at the same time, we see that there is some kind of a movement of consolidation of platforms, that it has implications for consumers, for media, for advertising agencies, for advertisers as well. But at the same time, we see that people are kind of tired of social media. No matter how audiences go up, but time inside the platform goes down. In all the, you see yourself that, and I don't know, we see when talking to people. Years ago, if you were not on Facebook, you were very, you were out of the world. But now, if you are not on Facebook, you are cool. You are. It's kind of different. You say, oh, are you serious? How do you do? It's kind of, and it's trendy to say that you are not going to publish that or that thing on Facebook because you don't have to publish everything. Remember the first years of Twitter? Everybody was publishing everything. Now it's kind of, you calm down a little bit. So these things are happening. So and then at the same time, social media don't want to be social anymore. They want to be media. Because media is where the money is. And then all of them remove the media label, the social label from their name. Facebook, they don't say they are a social media platform. They say they are a publisher. They want to be the place where everybody goes to see the television, and to read the news, and to speak, and to sell, and to buy. Or, I mean, from social media, Snapchat, I mean, Snapchat, they don't say they are social media. They have never said that. They say they are a camera company. They want to be the television on the mobile phone, on the cell phone. Or Twitter is news. They switch from categories. So last year were in social, now are in news in the Apple Store and the Google Store. So these kind of things make go to what I was saying at the beginning, that everybody they want to be the platform, and there are just a few platforms. Remember when we got hundreds, thousands of blogs? We still have, but not many, because blogs are published on the platforms. And then at least we read blogs through this platform, through Facebook, through LinkedIn. LinkedIn was bought by Microsoft last year, and they are different. They are growing that fast. Microsoft is different as well, since they changed their CEO. So they are growing very, very heavily on this. Even Google is saying, I want to be here as well. So they launched Google Post, because they want to be the platform where everybody goes to see content, no matter what it is. So it implies that we are going back to the four big networks that concentrate all the audiences and all the advertising, and then that we need to get to know how to deal with them, because they are offering television in a few years. They are offering television already, but they are more and more offering television. Okay, so this is it. Snapchat is the same. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Snapchat, because Facebook is copying everything. So nobody knows. These last days in Cannes, Evan Spiegel was saying that this is a long-term run. So they are very innovative. I like how innovative they are. So maybe that's what Facebook copied them. They don't want to be sold. So I don't know. But it's interesting. But there's a news platform. The Discover feature that they include 2 years ago is going very well. Nobody knows how well, because they are not very clear on that. But okay. But this is platform consolidation. This is something that I think we need to follow closely. Data. One of these things that we've been talking about data for decades. I mean, when I was a kid, people were saying, well, data is everything. But I think that there are a few changes. And we receive this news with a mix of skepticism, because we don't believe data can do the wonderful things that they've been saying, we've been talking about these last years, but at the same time we see many promises and many things. So, and we see that people are entering the game. This is Mark Benioff. He's the CEO of Salesforce, introducing a new artificial intelligence assistant that is called Einstein. What a better name, for an AI assistant. So what they say is, well, listen, we can do many more things for you than before, and many things that you cannot not even think of, because we are able to do predictions. We are able to automatically. We're able to automate things. We're able to do jobs for you. So it's kind of building predictive models. So what they say is, well, we've been doing this before, but now it's different, because we got many more data from you, and then we got the cloud, so we got much more computer power. So we are in a position that we can offer with what we've been promising for many years, because this is new. This is not new. And also, it's very interesting. In the articles I link to these pages, there is one that is very critical. And they say that, well, actually, because Salesforce is very well known for promising things that are not real. So fake it till you make it. So it's kind of, that's what they usually do. So they don't have the power and the knowledge to do this. But they've been buying companies for the last 18 months. And it makes them capable of do what they are offering. So I don't know. So they want to discover, predict, recommend, automate, so all these kind of things. So these people are entering the marketplace, trying to take tasks that before were done by the advertising agencies. And the advertising agencies are moving to this terrain as a way to get new business and to offer new services and to respond to the demands of the advertiser. Because there are many, well, those are some of the companies they bought, so well, this is the thing. But let me go a little bit quicker, because you can go slower through this. So look at this. This is IBM. You all know IBM Watson. IBM has moved from being a computer maker to be a service company. This is something that they presented with Macy's that is based on data and on artificial intelligence. It's something very simple, because those things, see that we don't speak of big data anymore. We speak of data for a small tasks that are very easy to do, but that computers do much quicker and much easier. And this is what they say is, well, we are going to do an experiment in 10 of our stores. It's developing an application, an app that guides you through the store. It's like a Google Maps from the specific store. And that you could interact with this, and Watson goes for help. It's funny because anytime Watson goes for help to a brand, they partner with someone else. And then this is Macy's Hong Kong, and in this case, they partner with Satisfy. What Satisfy does? User experience, user interface. Because IBM says, we don't know about people. We don't know about how people react to interfaces. We don't know how to sell. We don't have that feeling. I mean, you know that. I mean, if you have worked with engineers, they don't know how to manage with. They don't care. But these people know how to do it, so they partner. Oh, this is a performance bicycle. They do the same. So what they say? They say, there is a claim that I'm sure many clients have done to you, or some client at least is, listen, I have many data of my clients, but I don't know how to handle this. And Watson says, I go in your help. And what they offer is clarifying all the sources of data, putting them together, a unique interface to crossing all the data. And what they are offering is just, listen, I offer you a tool to identify the kind of client you want is approaching you, and based on your past experience, getting these people through the right experiences and tools and communication pieces to get a better sale. Well, this is kind of things that, and they partner with Blue Sky, same as before, because they need people who understand. Or this is another thing. This is something very similar to Amazon Dash that many of you may know. This is for Staples. So Staples says, well, we want a button just to speak with you and to order online with voice activated device. And Watson says, well, we do it for you. It's very funny how it works. I mean, it's so easy. Let me see. I'm going to do an experiment myself. I'm going to try. Is the web nice?
It's just a blue pen, right? Sounds simple, but it's surprisingly complex. What brand? What type? What quantity? Now magnify that across the chaos of all the stuff you order for all the people in your office. What if managing this was as easy as saying,
"Hi, please tell me what you need."
Blue pens.
Now it is. That's the magic of the Staples Easy System.
Hi,
Using
tell me what
simple
you
spoken
need.
words,
Any more Post-it notes?
the Easy button lets you order everything your team needs to be productive, fed, and caffeinated.
French vanilla coffee and letter-size copy paper.
Got it. That was easy.
It's an extra set of hands, helping you save countless hours, manage costs, and maintain control of ordering supplies.
3 boxes of Sharpies.
The Staples Easy button brings the power of on-demand to businesses on any device, exactly when something is needed.
Dry erase markers.
Order with voice through the Easy button or through the app. Order with a text, with an email, with a Slack bot, with a photo, or even with Facebook Messenger. It's easy to track shipments
I need to check on my order.
and get in touch with customer service. The brain behind the Easy system is IBM Watson. Watson's cognitive intelligence turns what you say into data, and then turns that data into answers you need. The Staples Easy button learns over time. With every interaction, it becomes more personalized and more intuitive.
Please tell me what you need.
So when you tell the Easy button you want blue pens, it knows the exact blue pens you want.
Got it. That was easy.
That's the Staples Easy system.
So you see, I don't know if you consider this advertising or not. I think that if we consider that advertising agencies need to help clients to sell more, this is one of the things that you should be able to do. At least to recommend, because before the tools for selling were very limited, but now there are so many that. So, what advertising agencies are doing? This is a report by Forrester, published by Adobe. Adobe is doing, I don't know if I pronounce Adobe in a different way that you do, but Adobe, whatever, so I pronounce it in the Spanish way. So, this is an interesting player because they are doing many things that they don't used to do before. And this is a report on data and advertising agencies. What they call is, well, is this data-driven marketing, that is DDM, that is a new term that we are using more and more, is something that the agencies need to offer because the clients need it. If I go to this, just to go back and forth, just to do it, no, I cannot. It doesn't allow me to, okay, no problem. If you go to this, you'll see the report here, and it's very funny because it's very well introduced. You got the study and the infographic that is like a summary of the study, and it says it's a report explaining how advertisers need help on this, and advertising agencies could be an interesting partner to do that because they know how to. They don't have the technology, but they know how to handle these kind of things. So they should know. They could know. Or look at what Adobe is doing. Adobe is being the competition because they are offering marketing cloud, marketing services, analytics, advertising. But they don't know about advertising, but they know about technology. If you go into that web page, you see that they are offering creative solutions, creative campaigns, something that was the terrain of advertising agencies before, or the creative studios, but now is all these people, everything is mixing. Or this is another report saying that, well, data and analytics. It sounds familiar because there are many years that have been the data, the years. So this is not new, but I think this time is kind of different. So, well, this kind of. And your next hire, a cognitive developer. We could name these people another way, but more and more advertising agencies are incorporating technical people, computer people, engineers to their staff because they need it. Finding the right mix is something difficult because there is not a clear agreement and there is not an identical situation, I guess, because in many cases it's someone to introduce technological literacy into the ad agency. Sometimes they want to have even the production or the creation inside, or the coding. But it varies, but this kind of names, this kind of positions are more and more common on the advertising agencies. And then the artificial intelligence that goes to creativity. You might have heard of this competition. This is Macan, Japan. It is from last year or 2 years ago, so it's kind of old. But it was a promotional event mostly, but they did. Well, we got a creative robot, and he's able to do advertising. So let's make a competition. So we got a human, our head creative director, against our robot. Send them a brief and see what happens. I mean, we thought that artificial intelligence or robots was just for manufacturing, but they are entering now creativity. This end up with the human winning the challenge, but it got nothing. So they put in this small robot, I don't know how to pronounce that, they put into his mind all the award-winning commercials of Japan from the latest 10 years, then ask it to learn, and then send them briefs. But I mean, it works. But in the world of journalism, is working much better. You may have heard of this, the Associated Press last year. All these minor leagues, baseball minor league sport was covered by robots. We were speaking about robot journalism because they say all of it are the same. So they're very similar. They follow the same scheme. So and this year the star has been, well, they did with automated insight, but this is the star of this year. Is Heliograph. Heliograph is the robot introduced by the Washington Post. Remember that the Washington Post belongs to Amazon. Amazon bought it 3 years ago. And then, so they are doing many experiments, many interesting things. Some people say that, so they introduced Heliograph. Heliograph is a robot that writes news. If you go to this article, it's very funny because it's very well explained. It's an article from Wire. And at the end, the writer says, this article was written by a human writer and gives his name and everything, but it's very funny. But he's working very well because he covered the Olympics this summer and then the elections in the States this year. And they were doing a wonderful, it was doing a wonderful job. And in this article, the nicest thing is that the writer interviews some of the journalists at the Washington Post and says, well, what do you think about Heliograph? And they say, well, listen, we were quite intimidated because working with a machine that can take your job is kind of, but we kind of like it because he does all the job that we don't like to do. For example, in the past elections, it took us about 500, I think it's literal what I'm saying, 500 working hours to process all the information and then began writing to all of us working together, just to high speed, This year we gave it to Heliograph and in 3 hours everything was done. So we could begin doing what we love doing, is writing commentary and analyzing and thinking. So these kind of things, we need to learn how to find the balance between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. But I think we may have these tools, we already have them, but we will have these tools more and more common. You see, for example, another example is WithBits. WithBits is a service, I don't know how to call it, but yeah, a service provided by USA Today, but it's offered to everyone. So, I mean, I've been entering the page and they are following me through the internet, so they're sending me ads to subscribe to this service. So what they do, it's very easy, very simple. They say, well, we're publishing many things on social media, and then we see that if you put pictures on the articles or videos on the articles, it goes much better, but we don't have the time to do it. So why don't hire a robot to do that? So if you go to WithBits, you send them the text and they put the pictures automatically. or the video. You can go to the web page and you see the cases. There's some news, you write the news, and then send it to Whitbits, and they put the... if you don't like it, refresh, and you have in 30 seconds another version. You don't like it, refresh again. Okay, and it keeps learning to what you like, and it refines the videos they put. So these kind of tools are artificial-oriented based, and they may help creative industries as advertising, journalism, all these kind of things. Something that is happening as well, that I think is one of the most powerful threats to advertising and brands, and the relation with the public. Though I don't have a clear sense of how much the client, the consumer, we as consumers are willing to tolerate. But are happening things like this. Do you remember this term, filter bubbles? It's becoming common because this Eli Pariser, he's here in a TED talk. He published his book 5 years ago, I think it was 2011. And the term filter bubbles became popular. What he says is, well, you may think you know the reality, but because of the social media, you are inside a big bubble. So you don't know what is happening, but you know what Google or Facebook wants you to know. I mean, with good intentions, because they want to give you good service. I don't know, there are many examples. Well, you have experienced this as well, so there is no Google standard anymore, depending on who looks for, I mean, even using the same terms, depending on who is looking for the things, doing the search, the results are different. So there are many examples. You see, for example, in last December, Google introduced Google Trips. What it is, it's a service that if you tell Google, well, Google, I'm going to London. Okay, I can do a tourist guide for you. Okay, and what do you know about me? Well, I know many things. We've been close. I mean, we're friends for many years. I know, your schedule for 10 years, your trips, where you move around because you are using maps. I know where you are writing, what conversations are you having through email or through the chat of Google. I know many things about you. So, do you allow me to do your, okay, and you see and say, listen, this is incredible. Because Google recommends you to go to the places you like. At the time you like. Enjoying the offers you want to enjoy. In the mean of transportation that you want to use. They know more about you than yourself. I mean, I've been playing with Google Trips these last days because it's funny because the first thing I do, I enter, and it recommends me to go to the places I go the most. Without saying anything, I don't say anything. And it says, it presents to me the guides of Madrid and Barcelona that are the cities I go the most. Yeah, this is Barcelona. This is me entering Google Trips. I like to see what happens if you enter Google Trips, because maybe it's different. And if you go, I go deeper. It says I said Madrid and Barcelona is Valencia and Barcelona. So there's another tab that is Valencia. So I click. I didn't say anything. Maybe. Yeah. So it's kind of, or this is an article from a writer from Content Strategies, a publication you may know, and she says, well, listen, you know what happened to me? Based on the content personalization that Facebook is giving to me, I thought that no one is going to vote for Donald Trump. So that's why I didn't go to vote, because I thought that. And Facebook is saying, yeah, I do that because of you. I thought that I want to present people that you like, sending you news that you like to read. If you can, but I want to know the reality. Okay, I'll change my algorithm, but it's kind of, this is intimidating. Because what we see is that we are getting filters. And we need filters. At the beginning of the internet, we thought that internet was going to be, yeah, as I said before, something that was unfiltered because the world was open to us. But now it's filtered, everything is filtered, because if not, we cannot manage such huge amount of information. But we need to find the right filters. The biggest filters are Facebook and Google. Amazon is a good filter as well. So the big platforms, they are filters. We allow them to filter if they filter as well. But filtering is intimidating because sometimes we don't really, looking for trends, you cannot go to filters because you go to the same places. To discover reality, you need to get out of the filtering system because otherwise, same happens with Netflix. You all know Netflix? Because what Netflix says, Netflix is very good on filtering. Actually, the first thing they do when you enter the platform is that they say, well, listen, what do you like? And you get to choose a few movies that you like, because this is the way they begin to learn about you. And then when you tell them about filtering, they say, well, this is because of you. So we want to give you better service. And they say, this is Carlos Gomez Uribe, this is a Mexican. He's been working with Netflix for many years. Now he was hired by Facebook. He's very smart. And he says, maybe it could be possible in the future, not very far in the future, that you just sit in front of the television and we show you what we know you would like to see. You don't need to ask anything. But I don't know, it's kind of, don't choose, I choose for you, because I know more about you than yourself. You can escape and go to the browse mode, or you just can go to the refresh button and get another one. Or this, I'm sure you got this story. It was a murder 1 year ago, I don't remember the date, but it's been on the news all this year because Amazon, it was Victor College, it was a police of Georgia, or I don't know where, but in the States, that was discovered dead on the bathroom. And then he got dinner with another friend, and then they got the friend, and they put him in jail. Now he's not in jail because and then the lawyer says, well, listen, Amazon, can you tell us what happened that day in Victor Collins' home? And Amazon said, well, I cannot tell you what happened. But you got the information? Maybe. Well, yes. But you got it or not? Well, yes. I record everything that is happening on that house. Because Alexa is recording everything. Why? Because I have to be I have to be listening. If they say the magic word, if they say, hey Alexa, so I need to, and then I need to learn, because I tape things and I learn from what you do, what you talk about, about your language, about your preferences. But I cannot give it to you. So they've been the whole year just talking and going to, back and forth. And right now, in last April, they decided that Amazon got to give the information to that, and then, but okay. It's very similar to the case of the San Bernardino terrorist attack that with Apple and the FBI and all these kind of things. Very similar. But the thing is that we've been listening, people are listening to us. The machines surrounding us, they know many things about us. They are recording things. This is a startup in Tel Aviv that they are selling something that many knew that was real. That is that your headphones can listen to you as well. The only thing you need is a special kind of software, and then you can listen to anyone. And then you say, well, listen, what's happening here? So brands know about everything. Google knows everything about me. So what can I do? I don't know. It could it could see the other way around, because the thing is that for brands this is very promising, because getting to know that well to our consumers, you can give better services. But where is the line? is the difficult point. But I mean, there's a concept that is being used, maybe you're familiar with that, is ROPI, is return on personal information. It's like the ROI, but with, and what it says is, listen, you can get all the data you want from your clients. It depends on the return that you give to them. Because we're willing to get rid of our data, as long as you take that data with care, and as long as you give it to me, new services. Because this is the price that consumers want to pay for, I mean, that brands have to pay to the consumers, good services, and then privacy, in a way. Well, there are many weapons of math, but it's intimidating. This is a book that came out recently. Okay. Take this. Well, okay, another thing that we are talking about is talking. The CES meeting that takes place every year in Las Vegas, that you know very well. It's funny because the star of the show this year was Alexa. Alexa is a voice recognition tool of. I'm going to take this. It's this one. I say it's funny because in such a technological event, you always expect companies to present their latest developments. And this is not very late development. It's been, I mean, voice recognition has been around for many years. But it didn't work. And now it is working. But the revolution is that Alexa not only introduced that was already being introduced, but they introduced that their platform was open to anyone. So many brands were saying, well, okay, I introduce Alexa voice recognition software on my device, on my whatever. So, and then it's all around. So you see that Belkin is introducing, they count about 400 brands using this on Alexa. So it's a lot. The cars are offering all this kind of voice recognition. Huawei is a Chinese brand, unknown 10 years ago, now one of the leaders on manufacturing mobile phones, and many more. But many more people are entering the race because, and it's working. It's funny because Alexa was the leader, just recovering an old-fashioned technology, but putting it to work. And then Google followed, Siri was there before, and then Microsoft said that Cortana, do you remember Cortana? It was, it was from the golden oldies, so that Cortana was still alive. Okay, so they are working on Cortana as well. So they are doing, and this transforms not only the way people interact with machines, but the way the user experience, in a way. You see, this is funny because the report is that we are going to reach, this is skyrocketing. So, because this year, we were about 11 million, or not that many, 10 million of these devices in the US, only in the US. And now the predictions are that we are going to reach 34 million this year. So, it goes very quickly. And Amazon leads the market. I put here, this link is active, so you can go to this report that is very recent. It's from 2017, so from January. So, and then what happens? That this is a paradise of search, because it's much easier to search by voice than to search while typing. And the quote I passed quickly at the beginning, it's a quote that says, well, we were used to interact with machines through screens, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Because why? Screens are not voice. Voice is kind of easier. I can imagine an office where everybody's talking to their devices, but for many other things, it could be much easier. And you could say, Amazon, buy whatever, I don't know, this kind of, Amazon, open Johnny Walker, and then it gives you recommendations. Alexa, open Johnny Walker. If it gives you promotions, it gives you recipes, I mean, for combinations or whatever. So it's kind of, or it can even transform the way you interact with your television, or buy things on television. I mean, remember that Amazon is always thinking of selling. I mean, they are the one who invented the one-click shopping. I think this is the most wonderful invention for selling of this century. So, and they are always thinking of selling. So they introduced, at CES this year, they introduced their own television. But it goes without the device that controls the television, the remote control. And they say, well, it doesn't have a remote control. You just talk to it. Do you want to see, I don't know, Real Madrid? Okay, just tell him, can you please, Alexa, just Real Madrid. Okay, and it's on the screen. Anything you want to see is much easier. Look for that through the voice than just browsing through these televisions that got so many, I mean, the displays are not very user-friendly. There are many things. This is the article, but the voice search and voice interaction is a much easier way to reach for these things. Okay, I put here a few examples. If you click on here, you go to this page where you have many examples of how Alexa can be used that many of you already know, so it doesn't have to. And then at the same time, we are eager for humanity. I think this is a good opportunity for advertising agencies, and something that is it's funny because things that we didn't, I mean, we've been without talking for many years, we began talking again. It's something that is very human, very reasonable. But I don't know if you have read a book by Kevin Kelly that came out last summer that is called The Inevitable. And Kevin Kelly is one of the editors of Wire magazine, and it's a wonderful book. It explains how technology is transforming our lives and our communication. He's expert on media, so he knows. And he says, well, listen, the problem with, he quotes an interview with Brian Eno, that is an African musician, and he says, the problem with computers is that there is not enough Africa on them. What mean Africa? Because Africa people just dance and move. You know better about it, but it's much more human. I'm touching buttons and there is not Africa on that button. I mean, there is no feeling, there is no human touch, there is no relation, there are no kisses, no hugs, there is nothing. So I need more Africa. And it's true that many times we don't get into relation with computers because they are not human. They lack humanity. And at the same time, we see that this is one of the challenges, how we recover or discover the humanity in a computer world. Because we see that technology leads to parity. And it's funny because all these months, I've seen a lot of talk about creativity. That we've been talking for the past years mainly about data, because it's much more efficient. Creativity was nothing, I mean, was something that we could read of because, I mean, we were more engineer-oriented and data are much more efficient. They go right to the point. You can measure what you do. Creativity is not clear what it's for. But now we see that technology leads to parity, and humanity, creativity, emotions is what really makes a difference. And technology people don't know how to do that. They don't even have a clue. And advertising people know how to do that. Communication people. So they are looking for human interactions, close, empathic, real, simple, touchable. This thing of the fake news goes back to the humanity as well, because it's something that is close, that I can see, that I can touch. Proximity marketing, things that are nearby, local, and things that have to do with this. Or even Google Home. This is the Alexa, the voice recognition device from Google. So last April, this April, they said, well, we can identify even 6 different voices. We are becoming human. They are also saying, I mean, if you are a brand, you better have your own voice if you want to be on these platforms. Because as I listen to someone and say, well, this is Renee or this is whoever, so this is Christy, because I know her voice, or it would be nice to have the same with the brands. I listen to some voice, and this is Coca-Cola, this is Ford, this is Meliá, because they have their particular voice. So okay, this kind of this kind of movements. This is Tristan Harris. This one that used to work for Google, and he began a movement saying, well, we don't need that many buttons, we don't need that many options, we need something more simple, because technology is taking out our humanity. And yeah, this is everything that has to do with user experience is becoming higher and higher because of this. And this is SXSW in this year. It's something funny, because inside this humanizing movement, there's a new term that people began using that is evolution rights. It didn't exist before. It has to do with this thing that privacy stuff that they say. People say, well, technology is evolving very quickly, but I don't want to evolve that quickly. I want to have the right not to evolve. Because people don't necessarily think that upgrading is a nice thing. And they put to the same level that gender equality, racial discrimination, so evolution rights. I got the right, I want to have the right not to evolution, not to evolve. And things like this happen, that human things, old things, become trendy. You see this is the Nokia 3310 that was presented, it was introduced in Barcelona in the World's Mobile Summit. I mean, then they didn't know that this was going to be so successful. Actually, they didn't have the phone, the manufacturer yet. And they got list of people. It was sold this May. I think it was 27th of May. It was came out in many countries. Here, in most of the countries in Europe and several others. And it was sold out in hours. And now if you go to look for the phone, the only thing you could do is just go to the list to be the first to receive a phone. And they did nothing. They just become doing something more human, more simple. They don't have the internet. You cannot Twitter with this phone. There's no WhatsApp. It's very cheap, it's very small. 49 euros is something that is simpler, easier to use, cheaper, nicer. They even got the snake. There is just this kind of this effect of, because I mean a little bit redesign, but the same thing, because it's the nostalgia marketing. Or this is nostalgia marketing as well. You see this? I mean, it came out on Christmas time last year, and then it was sold out in hours, in days. Or this Kodak is launching the Super 8, just kind of. So these kind of things, or the cassette is coming back as well. So the simpler things. The simpler is human, is nicer, is closer. They got memories. And this is not efficiency, because actually, I mean, when you talk to Nokia, you tell them, well, listen, then smartphones are dead. No. People love smartphones, but there is a space for dumb phones, for future phones, and we want to get that space. Because, and we estimate that this is 20%. And in most of the cases, it's a space for people that already have a smartphone. But sometimes they don't want to use the smart and they want the basic one. So these kind of things happen. This kind of, or you know this case. I mean, all the Americans, I'm sure you know it, but this is a case. It's human, simple, direct. They claim that they don't use an advertising agency, but they do advertising all the time. And everything they do is advertising. And this is, for those who don't know the case, this is a company founded in 2012 that entered the razor category. And they got in 4 years 16% of the category, so of the market category. So it's kind of, yeah. And they sell a machine, a razor, and the razors for $1 the first time, and then the next times you got to pay a little bit more depending on how many blades you want, and how often you want them to be at your home, because it's a subscription service, very cheap. I mean, no overselling at all. They don't even do commercials. They sell the whole thing with, well, this is what I'm telling you, but with a video on YouTube by the founder, that he claims that they got not celebrities, they got no money for celebrities, because the money they saved on getting celebrities is for you. We put that money on building cheaper razor. So that's what they do. So it's kind of, this is simple, this is direct. You see that when they say, the interesting thing was, it was bought by Unilever this summer for 1 billion, American billions, so 1,000 million in European terms. But it's a lot. But they don't make money. They don't even manufacture the razors. They go to someone else for the razors to be made. But they got the way to connect to people, to connect with people. And even the question here is, why, if they don't make money, if they don't manufacture the razors, why Unilever buys this company? This is the interesting question. I think that this is because what they got is content. So they got the channel. It's like a pipeline just to talk to 3 million people. That is the number of subscribers they have already, and growing. It's a company that is built on a promotional event all the time, a permanent promotion, a permanent promotional mode, but it works. It works. And it's very simple, very human, very direct. There is nothing hide. See, maybe those are the reason why Unilever bought this kind of company. I mean, so see, this kind of, this is humanity, creativity, is data, but much more than data. There are human connections that you don't know how to get, I mean, but you need to, and this is the pipeline. Okay, so they offering much more products. I put this in here because it's very funny to understand how the company is, how is the personality, because, I mean, being human or not using data, it doesn't mean that you don't do branding. They have a very powerful brand, and very well done, very well built, because it's a brand that has a very specific personality, and it's shown when you speak about hiring people. This is the recruiting page, and they don't say, well, we're looking for people. No, are you club material? And you go into, and it's funny, I mean, everything, the way they dress, the way they work, the way they position themselves, it's kind of, yeah, it's branding. It's employer branding all the time. I was speaking about creativity. One of the people speaking about creativity more interesting for me this year is Facebook. And because Facebook announced last year in Cannes, 1 year from now, the Creative Hub. Creative Hub is a tool to do ads yourself for all the Facebook platforms. When you get into this, I mean, it was launched on December, and then yeah, it's present in many countries already. So you may know this platform. So it's very easy to use. You go and you just you have at your disposal all the platforms of Facebook that keep changing and increasing, because there are many in Facebook, on Instagram, on all the different. And you can do the ads. You can do a mock ad and share with your colleagues, with your client. See if you like it, change what you like, and then launch the ad. So very easy to use. It's a huge gallery with examples, and then you can. I mean, they are going step by step through the same journey that Google did before. So they are building platforms for people to do their own commercials. But it's very difficult for an advertiser to do an ad from here. You may need the help of an advertising agency. But it may change the way advertising agencies work. If Facebook becomes a huge platform. But it's very interesting, because the mind behind this is this lady that you may know, Sheryl Sandberg. She's the chief operating officer of Facebook. She's the mind behind the success of Facebook, much more than Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is the owner and the creative mind behind the whole, but the one making this work is this lady. She was a finance analyst. She's very smart. And then the funny thing is that now she's talking about creativity. She's been talking about data the whole time, and now she's talking about creativity. Look at this. She says, well, creativity has never been so important. I mean, we knew this, but having this lady saying this is very remarkable, because she said just the opposite 1 year ago. She said, data is the only important thing. We offer data. We offer targeting. What she's saying here, when TV ads first appeared, people thought the creative was important. Then, when you move into online, what really mattered was targeting. Now, we think that it's both. See, on the Facebook platform, she doesn't speak about media, about social media. It's a platform. So that's it. So they need creativity. And we see that there are many things that the machines cannot do, and many connections that people cannot make, because they need creativity. I don't know if you know this campaign. This campaign is the Superhumans. Very well known. And I'm sure many of you know this campaign. It was in the London Olympics, they launched the Meet the Superhumans to Channel 4 in the UK to promote the Paralympics. And was a real success. It changed the way we watch Paralympic sports. And something that was not easy, because it's very sensitive. It's a field that is it's tricky. So you need to know how to communicate, how to do things. And then this year, they launched the second edition, completely different, done in-house. It's like a music video promoting the Olympics. And have you seen this commercial? So it's a video with Paralympic musicians. Very entertaining, very nice, and very active. So, and with the soundtrack by a music that is Tony Davendan's. That he goes in a wheelchair, and he makes all the singing, and he's go up and down. It's very funny and very nice. And they do the cover of Yes, I Can, music by Sammy Davis. It's very well known. If you listen to that music, I'm sure you will get familiar to it. And it's very entertaining, very, very nice. And this is, I mean, you see, this cannot be done by a computer. But many of the editing could be done by a computer. Or just finding Tony Davendan's, that they found this man through Google. Googling musicians on wheelchairs, and then, yeah, and he was very good. So you get the machines to help you doing things, but I mean, you need creative mind behind. This is the singer, And he's got his own brand, that is his own band, that is the Superhuman band. And they do the whole thing very, very well done, because they are selling the soundtrack of the music, so to speak, and the benefits go to the Association for Paralympic Sports in London, so it's very well done, the whole thing. Something else that is happening that has to do with humanity, with creativity, with all these things, that is that design is taking the stage. Design understood as something broader than we used to think of design. But look at what happened. You may be familiar with this, but 1 year ago, January 28th, IBM said, well, we are buying Resource Amirati. It's a New York-based digital agency, 35-year-old, very well-known, very good clients, a great reputation. I said, what IBM is doing buying this kind of company? People began thinking, well, listen, what's going on here? 3 days later, February the 2nd, well, they bought Aperto. It's an advertising agency very similar to Resource, but based in Düsseldorf. And then, well, they offer strategy, creativity, technology, all together. IBM. And then that same day, Aperto got a small line behind that says an IBM company. The following day, February the 3rd, IBM bought Exio, an agency from, no, this is from Düsseldorf. The other one was from Berlin. A full service, and same happened. Below the name, it says an IBM company. And then IBM Interactive Experience, that is the unit IBM has for these kind of things. So we think, oh, but what IBM is doing buying these kind of companies? And we discovered that, well, IBM has been doing this for the last 5 years. And they got more than 25, what they call studios, IBM studios, all around the world. And that they are the biggest, the largest digital agency in the world, with 50,000 employees. You see, but what IBM is doing, entering my world, they are doing advertising. So if you go to IBM Interactive Experience, this is IBM. Today, you go and they say, IBM Interactive Experience is at Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity. What are you saying? But you're not supposed to do computing? What are you doing in this? So these kind of mixes are happening. That same happened with the consultancy companies, with the Deloitte, the Accenture, all these are buying advertising agencies. Same is doing Google or Facebook. They are buying people from the advertising world because they see that to give service to their clients, to do service on selling, they need creative people because they don't know. I mean, if you go to there's an interview in the first page. There's an interview with the boss, the lady that is, she's the boss of Amirati and Resource Amirati, and people say, well, why are you selling? And she says, well, we need technology because without technology, we cannot do what clients need us to do. And this IBM is our perfect partner. And then IBM says, why are you buying all these companies? Because we don't know about people. We don't know about humanity. We don't know, we know, I mean, but we know about machines, but we need people to learn us how to put things that are easy to understand, easy to use. It's funny because if you go in here, I think this is, no. Okay. Yeah, we are without connection, so. But if you go, you enter the place, you see how they explain themselves. It's pure creativity. It's very fun, very curious because, and there are many things like this. I forgot to take this out, but you see that many of the companies that have been transformed during these years, they do design more than advertising. They redesign the whole thing. Airbnb is an example of this. So It was founded in 2008. They have more than 2 billion beds, because they speak about beds and they launched this year trips, and they don't think of advertising. They see that they are redesigning the whole thing. They think of redesign. All the founders, including Brian Chesky, they are designers. They are not computer people. They design experiences. They say, well, we want to be like, it's like, we've been studying Amazon, Disney, all this, and if we can design this as a single system, everything will work. You know how to design? They go to the streets. I mean, to redesign trips, they go to talk to people on the streets, to see what they think, what they feel, what they need. They redesign the application as well. And they launched something that is designed here in Spain. The only city, the city where they began was Barcelona. And then that's why I put this in here. So, and they say, well, we have to redesign the experience. Yeah, this is selling. This is selling as well as advertising or redesign. Designing is selling. The user experience is selling. Computer is selling. Computer design, computer machines, data. Things happens with this. You may know this company. This is Peloton. This is the fastest growing company in New York for the last 2 years in a row. And they are doing nothing that was not invented before, but it was redesigned. They are doing cycling classes. It's a cycling studio, but at home. So what they offer is, you say, what are you doing? You are doing software, hardware, and content. So they offer the cycling experience, but instead of going to the gym, taking it at home, but joining online the class, the session with the. So they redesigned the bike, redesigned the interface. This is not very different. They redesigned the. I mean, they only have a studio, and 200,000 subscribers. I mean, imagine a gym with 200,000 clients. Any one of them paying $39 a month. This is big business. It's just design. Not just design, but because these people, they have their own advertising agency as well. But, so, this is not, this is the studio. The studio, they only have one gym, and that is a studio. People go there, it's like a tourist destination. So you go there to bike and to meet your instructors face to face, and then you go back home. And then the key for these people is this, the 11 instructors chosen for their potential star power, but they are normal people. They are relatable people. Usual people. It's very funny because they explain how they find people, because they go to different gyms in New York, yes, looking for people, hiring people. So, so this is it. This is content. This is. These are three of the instructors, and this is Fred Klein. The way he discovered this, the Martusset, who is the one in there. So. And he says, well, listen, I was 5 minutes and I knew it. I knew he was the one. But look at the voice. This guy could do commercial voiceovers. What is he doing? Locked in a room with only 50 bikes. So these kind of things. So there are many things. I just end up with this video that is, maybe you already know, but it only can be seen on private sessions but what they say is, they do a documentary through including the companies that are being successful because of design, and it's amazing the kind of companies are in there. So okay, so I review a few things. There is one more missing that you will see yourself during. Sorry because I didn't manage all the time, but okay, I didn't even ask you to allow you to ask questions, but okay, I will be around for whatever you need. And I think the interesting thing of this is not what I say, but what you think of when, well, I'm saying, because that's what I try to do when with these presentations. So hope it was useful, that it makes you think, and okay, makes you bring you great ideas for your companies. So thank you for this time.